What if Naruto's from a God Clan Part 3? Let's go. Naruto continued his academy journey. He kept improving, and even though he didn't want to use all his might, as he didn't want people to know his true skills, he was still very good in the academy, and no one could say he's weak. They still did, but factually, it was incorrect. Naruto continued to be shunned by the entire class, as well as the teacher. No one liked him. But Naruto took drastic measures to stop this hate. Step 1 was to change his appearance, and then later he could actually try to make Naruto have a better name for himself. He learned how to control how he looked by Kurama teaching him, well, yeah, the basic transformation jutsu, but Naruto already knew that. Kurama allowed Naruto to be able to focus on the spot and without using a jutsu, control the appearance of his hair color, and even to some extent his skin color. As with time, Naruto was able to control his pale skin into a more normal looking person's skin from Konoha. And people didn't notice directly, but indirectly it was changing their minds, even ever so slightly. People still hated him, but they didn't think of him as an alien, as a monster. They started, or some started, to think of him as a human monster, which isn't much better, but at least they consider him human. In school, or in the academy, Naruto started to dress up differently. He covered up more and more of himself, dressing in complete black. But most importantly, in his academy life, Naruto was getting stronger. Much, much stronger. Naruto was getting very, very fast at improving. Learned new jutsus every week. And if they were very basic jutsu, like a transformation technique, or just a different element to the clone technique, then Naruto was easily able to learn it in a day. Not just that, but his chakra control was immense, as he was able to save almost all, and later on completely all, chakra that was flowing out, leaking, being wasted, and even managed to cut down the amount of chakra that he needed to make jutsu. He also increased his speed at which he could make hand signs, of course continuing to increase his physical capabilities, and his array of jutsu. Naruto is now at about a low chunin level strength, though very, very rapidly increasing, so we could be looking at a high chunin, even possibly low jonin level strength in only mere months. Mind you, he's training alone right now, well, with the help of Kurama, of course, and he's still only 8.5 years old, already this powerful and increasing in strength incredibly fast. Naruto continues to improve, even though being hated by many, he continues to gain strength and work on his outward appearance. He gains respect by some, though still hated by most, especially by the teachers who are plotting to not even let him continue to become a genin and so on, making him stay an academy student for his entire life. Their plan is to make him quit, so he'll never become a shinobi. Though if they want to stop Naruto, they have another thing coming. Out of all teachers, Iruka hates Naruto the most. He has the closest connection to the Nine-Tails attack, where Kurama supposedly killed Iruka's parents, making him an orphan for his entire life. Which is partially the reason that Iruka did become an academy teacher, though he was never truly able to forgive what happened that night, especially as Naruto's the symbol is the thing that happened that night. Now skipping forward a bit, Naruto learns of elemental chakra natures, as it's the next step in becoming a shinobi. In his mindscape with Kurama, he finds that his wind chakra nature is the strongest, along with fire that he's already starting to develop. Training with those first would be key to gaining strength, but then later on, when he tried to test out his chakra natures, he learned that he, for some reason, got earth chakra now. and that continued until he had all 5 chakra natures. It was unseen by Kurama, and Naruto never even found anything about that in books, but he was going to accept it if it was strength. Besides the basic transformation and clone jutsu, Naruto never used any of his strength in school, especially not in tests. The only tests that Naruto did excel at were written tests where he was actually able to show his knowledge without being too unique, but in a bad way. He was trying his best not to stand out, and he was kind of succeeding. On some days, no one even noticed that Naruto was there. But now, he'd have his final tests. These were the genin exams. There was just one problem: no one would let him go. Iruka passed out basically flyers that told the entire class to come on that day at that time to do their exams, but there was no flyer for Naruto. Naruto was left out. Not knowing what to do, he went to Hiruzen's office to ask if he could do anything about it. No matter what, Naruto wanted to succeed in becoming a shinobi, and he had to become a genin for that, so it was kind of a must. Hiruzen didn't give a straight answer, only show his concern, though he did drop a hint. If no one knew that it was Naruto, then no one would deny him of becoming a genin. Naruto pondered about what that could mean, but he found out a way. This wasn't a very nice way, but it was the only way to becoming a shinobi. He would take someone's place that was in his class, and would kind of have to temporarily knock them out. He didn't have a problem with that though, so he chose a pretty weak person that he knew wasn't gonna pass the exams anyways, chopped him at the back of the neck, which should knock him out for about 3 hours, which would give enough time for Naruto to do the exams and get his shinobi headband, which is all he wanted, as it was the symbol of becoming a shinobi. Naruto's transformation jutsu was on point, as he was, over the years, completely able to change his appearance as he liked, without even having to use any jutsu. First was the written exam, which Naruto did very easily, and of course, he didn't stand out. He specifically chose somebody that didn't stand out, as Naruto was perfectly able to play that role, just as he had the last 4 years. Then came another test, this one of course being the clone jutsu one. But once again, Naruto mastered that with ease long ago, so there was no trouble doing it. And he even did 3 clone jutsus, or rather 3 clones, all in one. Though later on when thinking back at it, that was pretty stupid. It would just make him stand out if he did anything except for a single clone. Iruka started to suspect something, though he didn't say anything. It wasn't enough evidence to do anything, and it could just be luck, who knows. Then came another test. This test was one where they would just have to show a specific skill. It could be a jutsu, which was what most people did, but it could also be mastery of a weapon, martial arts, or so on. Naruto chose the Earth-style mud wall, which was, once again, pretty easy for him, but still pretty impressive. Well, it would have been for an academy student, but Naruto surpassed that level of strength far back. And with those 3, it was already enough to pass, though there would be a last one in case people didn't do very well on these 3. The last one would kind of be like a bonus test. You didn't have to do it to pass, but it would definitely help if you wouldn't pass normally. This test would be fighting against a genin. It was an average strength genin, so nothing crazy, but the academy students weren't expected to beat the genin, but if they could hold their own in a battle for 1 or 2 minutes, then that would already be enough to show a sign that they are as strong as a genin. So about 2/3 of the class decided to take this test, as it wasn't mandatory, but people wanted to be safe anyways. The students went one after the other, and Naruto was second last. Naruto went up, and without even going into any stance of fighting, the match was called to start. The genin rushed over as he had the 5 battles before, as before was what he called warm-up. He was pretty cocky, but Naruto decided that he would put him in his place by simply sidestepping Naruto was easily able to dodge any of the attacks that the genin threw at him, which even included some weak jutsu. The genin tried to trick Naruto with some clone jutsu, though he saw right through it and didn't get hit a single time. Naruto's reaction speed had been trained over the months, as that's what he focused on the last half year, and it showed. Any spontaneous attack was easily dodged by Naruto, even if it wasn't planned for. And with that training, Naruto's eyes were able to perceive much more than a regular person's eyes. Now this isn't a dojutsu necessarily, though he does have one. We'll get to that later. This is just a stronger development in the eyes. So without using basically 1% of his power, Naruto easily dodged all of the genin's attacks, and with a simple punch to the chest, the genin flew back 3 meters, about 10 feet if you're American, and fell on the ground, meaning Naruto won the match. The first one out of any of the academy students to win, and even if he didn't win, that was a pretty impressive fight. Naruto would have lasted a minute, but then he kind of defeated the whole purpose of the test. But anyways, even if he didn't pass the first 3 exams, this would be enough to pass Naruto single-handedly. So Naruto would get his Konoha headband, with Iruka the proctor being very impressed and proud of the newfound genin, even though it was truly Naruto, who he actually hated. Naruto, not being too proud of Konoha but still liking to be a shinobi, instead of putting his headband at his head around his forehead, he put it around his leg, more specifically his thigh, still showing to be a shinobi, though not thinking of it as a high and mighty job, as if he was an angel. He thought of shinobi more like the devil's advocate, continuing to wage war over meaningless things. Naruto had been taught by Kurama, but even naturally wanted to strive for peace in his life, and that was going to be his main shinobi duty, and more importantly, duty as a human. He was going to try to make the world a better place step by step, even if it cost him his life. But for now, he had to wait the evening to get his Jonin sensei on the next day. Though then he remembered that he wasn't truly a genin. Naruto, he was still a loser. An academy student that didn't even become a genin, that didn't even try to take the exams. He just took another person's identity. But that was enough for Naruto. Naruto didn't really care for the title of shinobi. Naruto just wanted to show the shinobi world what a shinobi is truly supposed to be, as he felt that over the decades and over the centuries, the shinobi had lost their way. For today, he was thinking of watching the newly found genin teams to see what they are up to, as if he wanted to strive for world peace, he'd have to know what the new generation of shinobi is doing. Usually he wouldn't be able to hide from Jonin so easily, but thanks to Kurama being inside Naruto, Kurama, with Naruto's command, can turn off every and all type of chakra inside Naruto, making him basically invisible and, to some extent, not even quite living. Though for some reason Naruto was able to survive it and actually do very okay. It was just like being normal for him. Well, if anything that he did was truly normal, that is. Naruto first watched his father's student, who was Kakashi, teaching his new genin team, which consisted of Sasuke, the last Uchiha, a person appreciated so much for not having done anything in his life so far, Sakura, a useless, obnoxious, loud girl whose only skills were being able to read books, and another person, boy that was just pretty normal. There's no real issue to him, though he was kind of lacking a personality. Naruto kept on watching, then moves on to Might Guy's team, Kakashi's rival, then to the next team, led by Kurenai, a genjutsu master, and then to the last team, led by Hiruzen's nephew, Asuma Sarutobi, which Naruto mostly just knew as a wind user, just like himself. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and see you next one. Peace.